Welcome to Anime Chronicles, the channel where we bring to life the full story of every anime character and beyond. Today we're turning our focus to a much smaller, yet equally legendary, Pokémon Caterpie, the tiny bug Pokémon that started it all. At first glance, Caterpie might seem weak and unassuming, but its journey of growth, transformation, and evolution has made it one of the most meaningful Pokémon in the entire franchise. From its real-world insect inspirations and unique biological traits, to its unforgettable bond with Ash in the anime, Caterpie has proven that even the smallest Pokémon can leave a giant mark. We'll explore its origins, its biology, its heartfelt moments across anime and manga, its role in the games, and the lasting legacy that turned this little caterpillar into a true icon of evolution. If you love uncovering the hidden stories and legacies of your favorite Pokémon, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the world of Caterpie, the tiny bug with a giant legacy. Caterpie, the worm Pokémon, might look small and unassuming, but it has carried an outsized importance within the Pokémon franchise since its debut in Pokémon Red and Green, 1996. Designed as one of the very first bug-type Pokémon, Caterpie represents one of the most essential ideas in the Pokémon world, the concept of growth, transformation, and evolution. Caterpie is directly inspired by real-world caterpillars, particularly the eastern tiger swallowtail butterfly larvae, which shares Caterpie's green segmented body and characteristic false eyes. Its most iconic feature is the bright red antenna-like organ, known as an osmeterium in real insects, which Caterpie uses to release a foul-smelling substance to deter predators. This design choice not only grounded Caterpie in realism, but also introduced a subtle layer of depth to Pokémon biology, suggesting that even the weakest creatures had developed ways of survival. As a pure bug-type Pokémon, Caterpie is often seen as a beginner-friendly Pokémon. It has very basic abilities, limited moves, and a fragile defensive profile. Still, its role is not about immediate strength, but rather teaching new trainers the mechanics of evolution. In just a few levels, Caterpie transforms into Metapod, and then into Butterfree, giving players their first tangible experience of the core mechanic that defines the series. For many, Caterpie was the very first Pokémon they ever evolved, which is why its place in Pokémon history is so significant. Caterpie's Pokédex entries often highlight its docile nature, its appetite for leaves, and its natural camouflage. For example, in the Pokémon Fire Red entry, Caterpie is described as being able to eat leaves larger than its own body, showcasing its insatiable hunger. This small detail reflects its role as a constantly growing insect larva, an idea carried from real-world biology. From a symbolic perspective, Caterpie embodies themes of patience, fragility, and eventual reward. While it may seem weak or overlooked at first, its journey into becoming Butterfree mirrors the classic story of metamorphosis, beauty emerging from humility. This idea is one of the reasons why Caterpie remains so beloved despite its modest battle capabilities. Caterpie's simplicity also makes it one of the most accessible and relatable Pokémon. Unlike dragons or supernatural beings, Caterpie feels closer to something you might encounter in the real world, which allows young players to connect with it more directly. Yet, despite this ordinariness, it carries an extraordinary legacy as one of the original 151 Pokémon and as an icon of early evolution. This balance between weakness and potential became a recurring design philosophy in the franchise. Pokémon don't need to be powerful to matter. Caterpie was proof of that. When we talk about Caterpie's role in the Pokémon anime, there's no avoiding its iconic debut with Ash Ketchum during the early episodes of the Indigo League season. Caterpie was Ash's very first capture, and despite its small size and fragile strength, it quickly became one of the most emotionally resonant Pokémon in the early series. In the episode Ash Catches a Pokémon, Caterpie is caught after a short battle in Viridian Forest. What followed was one of the anime's most charming and heartwarming story arcs. Caterpie was immediately portrayed as friendly, affectionate, and a bit clumsy. Its relationship with Misty provided some comedic tension as she was terrified of bug Pokémon, while Ash treated Caterpie with kindness and pride. Perhaps Caterpie's most memorable moment was its dream of one day becoming a Butterfree. This theme of evolution wasn't just mechanical, but emotional, giving the audience a relatable story of growth, ambition, and transformation. The anime did something clever. It made viewers care deeply for a Pokémon most would otherwise dismiss as weak. Caterpie also had one of the earliest full evolution arcs in the series. After battling bravely against Team Rocket and other challenges, Caterpie evolved into Metapod and later into Butterfree within just a handful of episodes. This quick progression taught young viewers about the natural process of evolution in the Pokémon world, while also reinforcing Caterpie's role as a symbol of perseverance and growth. One of Caterpie's most touching scenes came when it fell asleep next to Ash on his pillow, showcasing its trust and childlike innocence. Such moments built Caterpie into more than just a battle partner. It was a character with emotions and a personal story. Although Caterpie itself didn't remain long in Ash's main roster, its time in the spotlight was impactful. The anime ensured that Caterpie would never be forgotten by tying it to themes of friendship, courage, and dreams fulfilled. Caterpie's anime appearances didn't stop there. Over the years, many wild Caterpie appeared in forest settings, often symbolizing the beginning of a trainer's journey. In Pokémon Journeys, Caterpie continues to make cameo appearances, reminding longtime fans of its importance in the early days of the franchise. What makes Caterpie's role in the anime unique is how it turned a weak Pokémon into an emotional cornerstone. Without Caterpie's early arc, Butterfree's eventual release in one of the most heartbreaking moments of the series, Bye Bye Butterfree, wouldn't have carried the same weight. Caterpie set that story in motion, and in doing so, it carved its place in anime history. Caterpie's presence in the Pokémon manga series further expands its identity beyond the games and anime. In Pokémon Adventures, Caterpie often appears in forests, echoing its role as a Pokémon encountered early in the journey. One of the most notable storylines includes Caterpie being used by characters like Red or other trainers to demonstrate the importance of training and patience. For instance, Red's early encounters with bug-type Pokémon highlight the theme of growth through struggle. Caterpie is often depicted as timid yet capable, embodying the classic underdog role. Its transition into Metapod and Butterfree carries symbolic weight in the manga as well, reinforcing the idea that even the weakest Pokémon can shine with effort and care. In addition, Caterpie's unique biological traits are sometimes emphasized more strongly in the manga than in the anime. The Osmoterium-like organ is occasionally highlighted in battle scenes, adding a touch of realism that aligns with Pokémon Adventure's grittier tone compared to the anime. The manga also portrays Caterpie as a Pokémon closely tied to nature, often found in large groups that blend into their environment. This depiction resonates with real-world ecology, where caterpillars appear in swarms, consuming foliage in large numbers. Such portrayals remind readers that Pokémon are not only companions for trainers, but also living creatures within a balanced ecosystem. While Caterpie rarely takes center stage in major battles within the manga, its presence supports the narrative in subtle but meaningful ways. It becomes part of the foundation upon which bigger stories are built, representing the humble beginnings of many trainers' journeys. Caterpie has been a constant presence in the Pokémon games since the very beginning. In Pokémon Red, Green, and Blue, Caterpie could be found in the Viridian Forest, where countless players encountered and caught their first bug type. Its low level and quick evolution made it a staple for early game training, teaching players the rewards of patience. Over the years, Caterpie continued to appear in many mainline titles, often in forested areas like Ilex Forest in Johto, Petalburg Woods, in Hoenn, via remakes, and various routes in later regions. These repeated appearances cement Caterpie as a Pokémon symbolizing the start of a journey. Mechanically, Caterpie has never been powerful. Its moveset is limited, often restricted to basic attacks like tackle and string shot. But its importance is not about strength. It's about accessibility. For new players, Caterpie demonstrates evolution in one of the clearest and fastest ways. Caterpie has also appeared in spin-off titles, including the Pokémon Mystery Dungeon series, where its timid personality is often emphasized, and Pokémon Snap, where Caterpie can be seen crawling across branches or dangling from silk. In Pokémon Go, Caterpie is one of the most common bug types, reflecting its status as an entry-level Pokémon for trainers worldwide. Interestingly, Caterpie has had moments of competitive relevance. In certain battle formats, creative players have used strategies with Focus Sash Caterpie or gimmick sets with String Shot to surprise opponents. While not viable in serious play, these appearances highlight how even the weakest Pokémon can inspire creativity. Caterpie's shiny form, a bright yellow-green body, is another detail that fans love. For many trainers, finding a shiny Caterpie was their first experience with the rare alternate coloration system, adding to its nostalgic value. In short, Caterpie's gaming legacy is about teaching, accessibility, and nostalgia. It might never dominate a battle, but it has dominated the hearts of fans for generations. Caterpie's influence goes far beyond its in-game stats or anime episodes. It has become a symbol of the Pokémon franchise's philosophy, that every creature, no matter how small or weak, has value and potential. Caterpie teaches lessons of growth, patience, and transformation. For children playing Pokémon for the first time, it often became their first evolutionary success story. For anime viewers, Caterpie's relationship with Ash showed the bond between trainer and Pokémon in its purest form. And for fans of the manga and spin-off games, Caterpie represented the natural beauty and ecology of the Pokémon world. The cultural legacy of Caterpie also lives on through merchandise, trading cards, and fan art. Caterpie plushes, figures, and TCG cards remain popular, often emphasizing its cuteness and innocence. Many fans who grew up with Caterpie now share it with a new generation, making it a cross-generational icon. Perhaps Caterpie's greatest legacy is the way it redefined what it means to matter in Pokémon. Not every creature needs to be strong to be important. Sometimes the weakest Pokémon can leave the most powerful emotional impact. From forests to anime screens, from Game Boys to smartphones, Caterpie has crawled its way into nearly every corner of Pokémon history. It may just be a small bug type, but its story is one of the most enduring in the franchise.